Hello, welcome back to this channel. I believe that all is well with you. So today we want to go through a very important topic, which is called work study. And it's so important, especially for engineers, because everything that is done at the workshop has to actually be examined. So kindly go with me as I share my screen with you. All right, trust you can see my screen. Good. So we expect to be able to define work study and describe the components of work study, and lastly, to know the advantages of work study. Okay, so as we all know, work study is critical to the work of engineers, as mechanical engineers especially. You would have to know at what point what work you're doing and at what point this work should be examined. Okay, so it's very important for us to be able to use work study. Now, the purpose of work study is actually to identify the most effective means. So there are other ways of doing whatever work you have to do, but there are certain ways that are known as most effective, and those are the ways you want to be able to find out. So in an attempt to examine human work, you can say that you're doing what is called work study. Good. So work study was defined by the British Standard Institution, and the definition that was given is that it's a generic term for those techniques which are used in the examination of work in all its context, and which leads systematically to the investigation of all the factors which affect the efficiency in economy and economy of the situation being reviewed in order to incorporate improvements at various levels. Good. So this is a very long definition, but the bottom line is you try to examine work in all of its contexts. So that's the basic idea of this whole definition. Yeah. Okay. So we want to quickly look at the components. When we say work study, the components, what makes up work study? Now, from the diagram on the screen, you can see that work study can be looked at from two angles. So there are two major components under work study. We have the method study and then the work measurements. Two, work study can be broken into method study and work measurement. Now, under method study, we are looking at motion study. So method study has to do with motion study. Work measurement has to do with time study. So these are the two, and both motion study and time study actually increase productivity. So that's what you see on the screen. Great. So now when we talk about work study, the two components, method study is simply what you say that you want to simplify job and develop more economical methods of doing work. So at every point in time, you're looking at the way work is done. How can we simplify? You know, there are certain people that when they are working, they look for rather the harder and more difficult ways of, but in method study you are saying that you need to find simple smart ways of doing the work as much as possible, and it also has to be economical. Now work measurement, which is also known as time study, is to determine the standard time for doing an operation. So every work that you have, for example, as an engineer, you want to repair, as a mechanical engineer to be precise, you want to repair a refrigerator, you want to repair an AC. What is the time frame? What is the typical time frame that you can use to repair that particular problem that is at hand? When you look at that and it's cut across, people are at least 3 or 4 engineers can come and use that same timing to do a particular work. So if you are called on to do that work and you use more than necessary time, then we can say that you have not done what is called time study. At every point in time, when there's time study, when the organization is able to do time study, they're able to know the length of time that is required for every operation. So even off head, you can say that, oh, for me to build this particular part of this machine, I'll need this amount of time. So that is what we are saying, that these two things yield positive results. They give us productivity in the organization. Yeah. Now we'll look at the importance of work study. Now, work study actually helps us to reduce costs in every aspect. When you're able to use economical ways of doing work, when you're also able to maximize the time, so the time that you have, make the most out of the time, you reduce cost. It also improves productivity. It again brings about profitability, and there's also standardization. Everybody knows that this is the time we are using. This is the amount of input we are using for this work. So there's always standardization in the workplace, and it makes work easier. Also, there's fair day wage. Everybody knows the amounts that you need for this particular work. So if you are called on to do this job and you decide to use 10 hours instead of 2 hours, you get paid for the 2 hours because that's the standard time that we use. Better working conditions. At every point in time, the employees will have better working conditions once there's work study in place. There's a very short lesson, but I believe that you have learned something from it. Thank you so much. So these are the references. You can contact me if you have questions and I'll gladly answer them. Thank you.